This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. I can see my destiny standing right in front of me. I can see our destiny standing right in front of me. I can see our destiny standing right in front of me. Watch it shine, watch it shine, watch it shine.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your bright, shining lights of Keller Williams, your 2019 Cultural Ambassadors. From the California Central Southern region, Shannon Bowdy. From the California Inland Empire region, Jody Bell. From the California LA Coastal region, Sheila Caron. From the California Northern and Hawaii region, Sasha Mason and Desire Vasquez. From the California Southern region, Jennifer Tim and Bonnie Maloney. From the California West Side LA region, Alicia Shepard and Travis Zidek. From the Canada region, Marie France Vachon. From the Carolinas region, Teresa Staker and Cindy Dudley. From the Colorado region, Michael Lee. From the Florida North region, Heather Palo and Stephanie Eldridge. From the Florida South region, Pedro Casanova and Sarah Desrosiers. From the Gulf States region, Al Mader and Flint Shea. From the Greater Heartland region, Chris Delfs and Carrie Prater. From the Maryland, D.C. region, Veronica Lawson and James Jenkins. From the Michigan, Northern Ohio region, Michelle Hosu, Robin Love. From the Mid-American region, Bill Canadas and Carrie Forrest. From the New England region, Kevin Quackenbush. From the New York Manhattan region, Aaron Wheelock. From the New York Tri-State region, Elizabeth Harper and Helen Kite. From the New York Upstate region, Leah Slocum. From the North Central region, Jessica Nearing and Mary Yakub Hudson. From the Northwest region, Gurukbal Guru Singh. From the Ohio Valley region, Stephanie Avallo and Teresa Kenny. From the Oklahoma region, Dustin Cantrell and Christy Stanley. From the Greater Pennsylvania region, David Rifkin. From the Southeast region, Authorine Johnson. From the Southwest region, Brandy Nixon and Mitch Schwartz. From the Texas South region, Tony Zamora and Dillard Schwartz. From the Texas North New Mexico region, Stacy Reynolds and Tony Bouchard. From the Utah region, Amber Burke and Tyler DeMars.
Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for.
From the Virginia, West Virginia region, Kathy Fong and Andrew Drew Swirsky.
And buried in your bones, there's an ache that you can't ignore. Taking your breath, stealing your mind, and all that was real is left behind.
From the Dubai region,
Don't fight
Lucy
it, it's
Parker.
coming for you, running at you. It's only this moment, don't care what comes after. Your fever dream, can't you see, getting closer? Just surrender, cause you feel the feeling taking over. It's fire, it's freedom, it's flooding open. It's the preacher and the...
We're a family here at Keller Williams, and families hug. With all the reuniting that's going on this week, we want to pass along a few helpful tips to make sure you're ready to hug. Tip number 1, be transparent. You don't want to scare your friend, catch them off guard, or put them on the defense. When going in for a hug, make it clear what you are doing. Tip number 2, show your sincerity. There is nothing worse than a sloppy, half-hearted attempt at a hug. Remember, a hug is a gift, and when you go in for the hug, grip your friend firmly in your arms for at least 2 seconds and mean it. Tip number 3, go with the flow. If you have a bear hugger approaching you, embrace it. Don't force the one-armed, half-hug backslap. Nothing says awkward more than trying to turn a bear hug into a halvesies. Now that's it. If you follow these simple tips, you'll be ready for an awesome week filled with hugs. And may I remind you, you gotta give and get 7 hugs a day, or you start to get a little bit weird. So let's all make it a goal to give out 7 hugs every single day. Happy hugging.
Please stand and give a hug to the person next to you.
Please welcome mega hugger Vanessa Pollock and your Chief Officer of Hugs, Mo Anderson.
Oh, that was fun. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our 14th Annual Cultural Summit. I thank you, Vanessa, for being our co-facilitator today. Vanessa is from our Market Center in Summit, New Jersey. And Vanessa, I thank you so much for all the hard work you have done on this summit. But darling, what I really want to know is about that singer, that good-looking, handsome singer.
Well, Mo, his name is Kevin Kern, and Kevin joined Pollock Properties Group about 1.5 years ago after I stole him away from a 20-year career on Broadway.
Well, he was really good. I mean, if you can sing This Little Light of Mine and be good, you're good.
He's good, Mo.
Well, Vanessa, what's your team gonna do this year?
Well, we've got a rolling 12-month sales volume of 60 million right now, Mo, and that lets us give back really, really big in our community, and we're gonna keep it going.
Well, honey, keep it rolling, and now let's get this program rolling because we are here to celebrate culture.
That's right. This morning, we challenge you to drop your idea of what culture is supposed to be and allow some new ideas and thoughts to expand your cultural mindset. See, culture is not a hat that you put on at certain times. It's a way of life, and it's a way of conducting business. So let this summit be the catalyst for something great in your life, and allow this to be the next step in the fulfillment of your destiny.
This event began 14 years ago, and what year were you inducted as a cultural ambassador?
In 2014, this is my 5th anniversary.
Your 5th anniversary. We brainstormed with our cultural leaders to create an event that would educate and challenge us to grow culturally. And this summit was designed and done way back when Kay Evans encouraged us to begin doing this, to recognize our associates who are our culture keepers. And we call them cultural ambassadors.
That's right. And each ambassador is actually nominated by their peers in the Market Center. Then they're selected by a blind committee in their region. And almost every one of them is shocked to learn that they've been selected for this lifetime appointment.
And during the 14 years that we've been growing this powerful, I call it an army of ambassadors, we've observed common characteristics that make these individuals a unique embodiment of our culture.
Those characteristics formed our standard for cultural behavior and action, and that makes up a list called What is Culture that was recently renamed Culture in Action. And you'll find that list in the booklet on your chair.
For example, ambassadors listen before they take action.
Ambassadors lead generate every day and hit their production goals.
And they speak without profanity. And avoid disparaging remarks, especially about anyone who leaves the company because they might come back.
Yeah. When building a team, they never recruit from within their own market center or from another market center.
People who are in culture actually are driven by the higher purpose of business, to give, to care, and to share.
They embrace new technology, and they participate in labs.
And many of you were drawn to our company because of our most important value statement: God and family first, and the business second.
Mo, when ambassadors put God and family first in their life and then business, they naturally live by the Y4C2Ts.
Now, you may not be a cultural ambassador, but it's our hope that every associate aspires to be a cultural ambassador. And you do this by creating an MVVBP for life in business, by living the Y4C2Ts, by taking cultural action and growing through the 6 personal perspectives.
So we must ask ourselves, are we leaning into the pillars of culture? Are we trusting that they will lead to the destiny that we are meant to fulfill?
And now let's actually induct our wonderful 2019 Cultural Ambassador class. Will you stand? Oh, they're a great, wonderful, wonderful group.
They are. Ambassadors, we cannot thank you enough. Thank you for living and breathing our culture. From this moment on, you are charged to continue to grow the culture that others have planted in your market centers and in your regions before you. So ambassadors, if you would please raise your right hand and read along with us.
Are you ready? Let's go. I do solemnly affirm that I will faithfully live and work according to our cultural standards.
I will care, share, and give in order to better our world.
I will continue to place service and people before profit.
I will place honor and integrity before personal advantage.
I will strive to live out the higher purpose of business.
And I will commit to establishing my own legacy worth leaving.
Keller Williams, we proudly present your 2019 Cultural Ambassadors. Woo!
What a celebration. Every year, our ambassadors submit their personal cultural stories. Let's watch a few together.
The day I joined my market center, moving into my office hot and tired, an associate came out with a glass of water. In that moment, I realized culture matters. From then on, I've made myself available to anyone in need. For example, I learned of an associate who was struggling financially and desperately needed care for her ailing feet. She could not afford orthopedic shoes, so I purchased them for her in 2 different colors. It was a small gesture. I believe it's the small things that make the most difference. I've also mentored countless agents, co-listing with them, giving them leads during tough times, or being a resource during difficult transactions. On a personal level, I have advocated to keep marriages together, delivered gift baskets and meals, anonymously funded livelihoods, and written countless inspirational notes to fellow associates. It takes thousands of bricks to build a house. Each small act of culture is building the home we call Keller Williams.
I made a lot of mistakes as a new agent. So I help others by teaching Ignite in my market center and by anonymously sponsoring training and tools for new associates. I love watching the gifts of bold classes and productivity tools change the lives and businesses of my colleagues. James Jenkins, Maryland, D.C. region.
Years ago, I was working for a competitor company and had a closing with a Keller Williams agent. Within a week of the transaction, I received a handwritten note from the agent's team leader, thanking me for the way I do business. It was signed, "God bless you." That really impacted me. I was raised to put God and others before myself. So I could not resist joining a company with the value statement, God, family, then business. I now serve on the ALC. We strive to help every associate hit their goals, no matter their production level. That's what inspired the Love List. The agent roster is divided equally between all ALC members. We call our assigned associates twice per month to offer help and hold them accountable to their goals. I also developed a program called 1 Cup or 2, It's Up to You. I give agents a $5 gift card and invitation to meet over coffee to brainstorm their business. Recently, I started mentoring a group to improve lead generation. Each agent in the group turns in their numbers daily. Then, we discuss their wins and challenges. To make lead gen fun, I held a contest, Dialing for Dinner. I bought porterhouse steaks, and each participant had to set an appointment in order to earn a steak. Our culture has been profound for me. It has given me a new reason to work, grow, teach, and learn. I want to help others do the same.
At Keller Williams, it's not about selling, it's about helping. Our culture has taught me to give, care, and share at a higher level. Flint Shea, Gulf States region.
I learned early in life to put family first and business second. My dad started a real estate business to augment his meager farm income that supported our family of 6 children. So after 20 years of nursing, real estate became my second career. Little did I know the skills I gained as a nurse, along with the bold laws, would become a difference maker in the life of another person. A 5-time bold graduate, I have embraced the importance of motion over emotion. My past and present came together a few weeks ago during a half marathon. A man running directly in front of me suddenly collapsed. He was not breathing, and he did not have a pulse. Seconds passed as it dawned on me that no one was coming to his assistance. Then I remembered, there is no try. I gathered my courage and took action, administering CPR until the EMS arrived. I am humbled by what transpired. I am very blessed to say that my Keller Williams teammates sprang into action too. In the days and weeks that followed, they formed a network of support. Our culture, based on faith, family, and service, prepared me for that monumental day.
I think we were placed on earth to be a contribution to others. So when 8 associates in my office could not afford the tuition for Bold, I paid for them. As Gary says, first you make the choice, then the choice makes you. I choose culture. Mitchell Schwartz, Southwest region.
As a brand new agent, I joined a launching market center. I will never forget how warmly I was welcomed by a team committed to giving smiles and 7 hugs a day. Years later, I make it my mission to reach out to new agents to pass on that feeling of hope and joy. Our office has a large room called the Launchpad, where new agents can plug in and do business. Now, despite years of experience, I choose to sit in the Launchpad instead of a private office. I want to be a resource for our new agents, so they can observe and I can mentor them. I sincerely care about our associates. I joined the ALC growth community to brainstorm ways to increase our retention. I make a point to study KW tools and implement them in my business. Because these are such a big part of my growth, I started teaching these tools in the Market Center. I am reminded of a saying I learned as a child. One stick alone can be easily broken. However, many sticks together stay strong. In other words, together, everyone achieves more.
Please welcome our 3 panelists. I'm so excited you're here. Bless you. Oh, I'm thrilled you're here. Awesome, Jesse. Well, here we are. I'm so excited to showcase you. And Jesse, will you tell who you are, what market center you're from, what region?
Sure. I am from the Northwest region. My name is Jesse Dill from the Sunset Corridor office in Portland, Oregon. Yeah, they're there.
They're here.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it when they cheer for you. Man, it just gives me chilly bumps. What year did you join Keller Williams?
I joined Keller Williams in 2015.
And in 2015?
Yep, and I immediately immersed myself into the training, the culture, the models, the systems, coaching, and in 2017 I was nominated Cultural Ambassador.
Wow, so you got to wear the ribbon.
Yes.
Did you ever
yes.
jump into a swimming pool with your ribbon on?
I did not. I think I did a chest bump is what I did.
That was my favorite part of that video. How has your business grown since you've been with KW?
Yes, so because I dove in and was all in to all the systems, I started at Keller Williams at 15 million in production and improved my business and doubled it to 30.
Wow. Why do you think they nominated you to be a cultural ambassador?
So in 2016, my brother-in-law, Ryan Patrick Couts, passed away. He died from a tragic rock climbing accident. He was a giver of just building people up and inspiring others. One of the things that he did to do that was spread notes of kindness, anonymous notes of kindness around to people to kind of just build people's morale and joy. So I created a concept in our market center called KW Red Notes and created a movement, yeah.
So KW Red Notes. Yeah. Now, explain what that really is.
Yeah, so KW Red Notes are small little sticky notes, and you may have seen them around, and if you haven't, I'll tell you how to get them in a minute. And they're not just sticky notes. They're a simple way where agents, associates, and leaders around the globe can spread the joy of our culture just one note at a time. So at the time, our market center was, the time my brother-in-law passed away, our market center was struggling. We had a couple of team leaders that went away, and we were interviewing, and our OP moved out of the state, and our culture was down. We needed to do something. So as an ALC, we got together and brainstormed. And through Ryan's inspiration of just spreading joy, I went online, I ordered some red sticky notes, and I said, you guys, let's just spread these anonymous notes around our market center. Let's improve our culture and let's see what happens. In a matter of 2 weeks, it completely transformed our culture, and people were smiling, and it just changed the morale. And I knew at that point that we had something together. We created something at our market center together that could be translated throughout our company.
And then all of a sudden there were red notes in the region. And then all of a sudden there were red notes at KWRI. I even found a bunch of them in my own office, and I read every one of them. They're just awesome. So what's next for you?
Yes, so when I joined at the beginning of the ALC, and after your cultural ambassador training, which if you haven't gone to, I highly recommend for, even if you're not a cultural ambassador, go. You'll learn so much about our culture. I was really inspired. I was inspired to bring more clarity around what our culture is, to create unity. So I immediately changed my name from co-chair of the culture committee to director of culture innovation. And the office was like, people were like, what are you doing? What is this? And looked at, and my goal was to really create unity around the 4 pillars of culture and have an understanding on what that is. Because I think that we go about our day and we don't really sometimes pay attention to what culture is as a whole. And so creating that unity in our market center was the goal. I believe, Mo, that the exponential growth of our individual businesses, our market centers, and our company as KWRI depends on 2 things. It depends on technology, which the innovation of technology, which Gary is doing an amazing job with building that for us, protecting our industry, and how we define and unify our culture as a company and as a market center. And creating unity around that is more important today than ever. So I was really inspired the way that our community, and I say that sincerely, we have a community of culture, took the KW Red Notes. I created a video and posted it on Facebook right before we launched. We had 6,600 views within 3 days, agents and associates all around the world asking how they can get their hands on the Red Notes.
So how do they get them?
So how you get them is you can order them online through the Red Store. If you don't know how to get to it, just Google KW Red Notes, you'll find them there. They're easy to access. Follow us on Instagram, it's at KW Red Notes, and spread them in your market center, spread the joy. You never know how just what one note will do for someone's day or someone's life. So just an amazing opportunity. I feel like I was given a gift to experience our culture unified together as one. And I think that we can, if we all go back to our market centers and really dive into the four pillars of our culture and learn those and understand what that is, we can do some amazing things as we unify.
That's right. Well, it was something that you just said. Yesterday we heard somebody say that there's the physical and the virtual, right?
Yes.
And we are moving into the digital age and we are operating in a lot of virtual ways. You've given us a physical, tangible stickiness. The sticky note makes us sticky as an organization. So thank you for taking action on that and making that happen.
I'll say one last thing, I'll be done. Thank you. Thank you. I'll say one last thing. I created a very simple idea. It was inspired by my brother-in-law. Our culture is really what took it and moved it forward.
You know, one of the most important things that I want for our agents is not only understanding the culture, but to really get excited about this gift we have in the company called Profit Share. So, Jesse, darling.
Yes.
How many do you have in level 1?
So in level 1, I believe I have about 6, but Mo, I'm working on the other 9.
You're working on the other 9.
I'm working on the other 9.
That's good, because we want you to get to 15 as quickly as possible.
100%.
Jesse, I admire your leadership. I loved it when you spoke up at the IALC meeting last night. I love your innovative ideas, and I'm giving thought to, you know, like Gary has his top 100, I'm giving thought to a top 100 for culture. And honey, you're gonna be on that list.
Oh, thank you. Oh man, that's...
Matthew, tell us your name, where you're from, what region?
My name's Matthew Talafuse. I'm from the Denver, Colorado area, Colorado region, in the KW Park Meadows office.
And what year were you named Cultural Ambassador?
I was named a Cultural Ambassador in 2017.
And why in the world were you nominated by your peers?
So Mo, it's kind of twofold. My first family reunion, I was in the crowd just like they all are right now. And I had recently visited the Ribbon Bar and grabbed my ALC, and there's team leader and OP and investor and all these different ribbons. And I thought to myself, I'm a military veteran. Wouldn't it be cool if we had a military veteran ribbon on the Ribbon Bar so that from across the room we could see each other and instantly have that conversation? And then right after I got home from that family reunion, I said, man, we should have a referral network that's military-based, and it's for military veterans that goes beyond real estate. So I started that. We have about 700 of us right now in the group. We're transitioning to command. If you're out there right now and you've never heard of it and you are a military veteran, jump on Facebook. That's the easiest way to find us. Type in Keller Williams Military Veterans. We're there. Jump in the group, and we'll get you transitioned over to command, and we'll all start networking.
Matthew, I personally want to thank you for your service. My dad, who happens to be here, is a veteran. We have a lot of people in our family who has served, so thank you.
Thank you.
And what you've done, you've tapped into a basic human need. We all have a need for belonging and for community, and you've created that for our Keller Williams veterans. So I just can't thank you enough for taking action on that.
Thank you.
I just think what you've done is amazing. And my father served in World War I. My oldest brother served in World War II. And my other brother served in the Korean War.
Wow.
And I just want to hug your neck so tightly for
I'll let you.
what you're doing. Yeah, you're definitely going to be one of my hugs here again in a minute. But what's next for you culturally?
You know, Mo, this past year, my wife and I invested in our market center. We've been growing our team. We're trying to take that to a new level. We serve a lot of first responders and veterans in our community, so we're trying to grow that beyond real estate also. Within our market center, we just want to help new agents change their lives. It's not about selling houses, it's about making a difference, and that's what we truly try to embody. And when it comes to the veterans in our community and our veterans in this community, Mo, staggering statistic, 22 veterans a day commit suicide in the United States. And if this group that I've created can somehow help somebody when they're in a dark time, because what you don't realize, folks, is whether you're a veteran or something else, and you're going through a tough time, you feel like you're in a room all by yourself and it's incredibly dark, but what you don't realize is there's 1,000 other people in the same room. You just have to reach out and you'll find somebody. So within a culture of, or a community of veterans here at KW, as an office, as a market center, you can create a culture where people will continue to help each other, and our culture is everything. That's what makes this company so great.
And I know you have a real heart for our policemen and our firefighters. Why do you have that huge heart for them?
Yes, ma'am. So not only was I in the military, but now full-time I'm a fireman in the Denver area. Our schedule's pretty sweet. It's 48 hours on, 96 hours off. My wife heard that 96 hours off part, and she said, you better get a real estate license and get in the office, so there I was.
Well, we thank your wife. So how is your business?
Business is going really, really well, Mo. We recently added a full-time admin, and if your leadership is telling you, hey, your business is at a point, you should probably add a admin to your team. Follow the systems and models, but listen to them.
So what are you going to do this year?
We'll do hopefully about 13 million with my wife and I.
That is just amazing. So she handles it while you're fighting fires.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me tell you, we love you for fighting those fires. We are so grateful. Our 6 policemen in Philadelphia were not killed. I was just thanking God this morning that their lives were spared.
Absolutely. It's absolutely my pleasure. Best
How
job in the
many
world.
do you have in level 1, honey?
I have 6, but I'm working on them.
But you're working on it, okay. Stephanie. Oh, congratulations. I love your ribbon you're wearing, and I want you to wear it to every regional function every market center function and you show that sucker off.
I might do that, so watch out.
Do it. I'm serious because it helps everybody get refocused on culture. So Stephanie, you told me about your mission is to give $1 million. Are you in Gary's top 100 group?
I am. And actually, it started before I got to KW, but then has progressed exponentially since being here. So actually, I started out as a broker owner of another franchise company.
What was it?
It was a Remax franchise. And a very dear friend in this crowd, Roger Lundy, gave me the book to read, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, and it laid on my desk for a year. And then everybody was talking this language, 8x8, 36 touch, and I was like, what is that? And they're like, haven't you read the book? And I was like, no. So I got the book out, and as soon as I read it, we were 2.5 years into our franchise, our other franchise, and I knew that God was calling us to Keller Williams. When I read the book, I actually called Roger and said, is Gary Keller a Christian? And he was like, because I'd never heard him speak. So by that book, I could just tell something was different. Something was different. So in the book, of course, we're instructed to think like $1 million, make $1 million, net $1 million, receive $1 million, which was fantastic. And then I thought, well, gosh, what about giving, right? When we receive, we're instructed biblically to give. And so that's how it started. And then we actually got to Keller Williams here in 2007.
And so now you're starting to work on giving $1 million. So what do you love to give it to?
So our team is passionate about clean water, food, and shelter. And these are the 3 basic needs that aren't always met. And so we're very passionate about that. And just here in the last 2 years, we have established actually a giving goal as a team. So not only do we set our goals for transactions and volume and income, but we also then set giving goals individually and collectively as a team.
And what else do you love giving to?
Well, so part of that giving goal is giving of our time, talent, and resources. And so part of our time is giving like on Red Day. And so Matt, you'll be very excited to hear. So on Red Day, our entire team helped with a million meal movement where we actually were able to help pack 18,000 meals, over 18,000 meals that were all donated to the Indianapolis area veterans.
Wow.
So, but that was our entire office and entire.
And what else do you love giving to?
And part of our team culture and our office culture is to have 100% giving to KW Cares. And so we partner with each of our team members because with the $10 automatically given and taken out, they pay $5 and we pay $5, and so collectively we're giving $10 for each and every transaction.
So may I have permission to give you a challenge?
Yes.
I want to challenge you to give some scholarships for KW Kids Care.
That's actually one of my bucket takeaways from this conference is I would like to become a trainer.
Good, you want to become a trainer, yay. And invest in the lives of that next generation.
Absolutely.
That
With
is
three
awesome.
little boys, they're not so little anymore, but 3 boys, that I think it's important about our next generation.
Right. How's your business been doing since you joined Keller Williams?
So in 2007, we were just under 18 million, and last year we finished over 42 million. And this year our goal is to do 55, and we're tracking just below that, but
that's awesome.
Pretty close.
But
that was last year was 181 families helped and served, and that's what we look at families served. And then this year is 255 families.
And how many do you have in level 1?
24.
And how much money did you get in profit share?
So last year we were super blessed. My first profit share check was only 45 cents.
Isn't that exciting?
And back then we got checks, and so I laughed because it cost more probably to get me the check. But now last year my profit share was over $50,000, $94, and together with my husband it was over $90,000.
That's awesome.
But
you get it.
I do.
Get it.
I really do. And I had the pleasure and honor of sitting with Althea Osborne yesterday, and Linda McKissick owns our region, and so I'm just really blessed to have those two as mentors of the gift of profit share. But it's not about the money, because it's really about what the money can do, because the lives that you can touch with all those
That's
from
right.
the profit share, because
That's
that's,
right.
that's passive income that can make a difference and impact
I'm
lives.
just so proud of you for that $90,000, and I'm hoping and praying that our panelists next year, it'll maybe be over $100,000. I just
right.
want it to go up every year.
It will. Don't worry.
Stephanie, I love your heart to give $1 million and your heart for KW Cares. For anybody new or guests in the audience, KW Cares really is our internal Red Cross, so we can take care of each other. And I know that I had the same desire to give back as you, and got really nervous that I wouldn't be able to hit that give $1 million goal. So if you just do the quick math, what's so exciting is that if everyone does the $10 donation to KW Cares, then we would have actually donated $12 million in a year based on the sales we do as a KW family. That would be give $1 million every month as a KW family. So we can do it, and thank you for the inspiration.
And that's it. I think it's just challenging each one of our offices to go out and encourage every single agent, even if it's $1.
That's right.
If you have 100% participation.
Or $100.
Or 100 or 1,000, right? Per transaction, for some of those in California, right?
I'm so...
It's way different than in Indiana, so.
I'm just so proud of the three of you, and I am so thrilled that you get it, and that you are ready to make powerful decisions, steps, and movement to make sure that this company has culture for the next 25, 30, 35 years. Thank you.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
For me, culture is simply a way of life. When I started the Evlo team, my MVVBP included faith, generosity, and integrity. Recently, my team's integrity was tested. A situation was brought to my attention that had occurred with a client over 2 years ago. Others advised me that it was water under the bridge and I was no longer liable to make any compensation. Legally, that was true. However, integrity demanded that I do the right thing, even though no one was looking. I contacted the client and wrote a check to compensate that family for an error that had gone unnoticed. They were beyond grateful. Integrity earned the trust of those past clients. My team also values extravagant generosity by giving our time, talents, and resources. And a huge resource that funds this giving goal is profit share. I believe that profit share contributes to the KW culture difference by allowing us to be agents of change who leave a legacy. We have the opportunity to be the change we want to see in the world when we make a commitment to give where we live.
Bold has taught me to change the way I look at things. And as a result, the things I look at have indeed changed. In fact, Bold inspired me to read my holy book for the first time in my life. I found faith, and now I truly understand what it means to put God and family before business. David Rifkin, New York Tri-State Region.
I had 7 years of experience in real estate when Keller Williams opened near Buenos Aires, Argentina. Culture, technology, and training were immediately apparent to me as soon as I joined the market center. Since then, I have seen many new agents beginning their careers at KW. As an ALC member, I feel a responsibility to share my knowledge and experience. So I teach, ignite, and mentor new agents during their first transactions. We all benefit when our agents get into production as quickly as possible. I also feel a cultural responsibility to share Keller Williams with as many co-op agents as I can. At every opportunity, I tell my story of growth, productivity, and profitability. Through technology, tools, and training, KW has completely transformed my business. That blessing is just too good to keep secret. And Growth Share is the blessing that results from sharing culture every time I bring those leads to my team leader. Growth Share only works in a company that has standards, values, and culture.
I believe together we are stronger in business, so I strive to help every associate unleash their potential by sharing my knowledge and skills. Sharing is tantamount to the culture embedded in every market center around the world. Lucy Parker, Dubai region.
I was new to Keller Williams when I was invited to serve on the ALC. I didn't expect it to be more than a title, so I was shocked when I made a suggestion that was actually implemented. I knew then, culture is not just a fantasy. Motivated, I began to immerse myself in culture. Our office is large, over 300 agents. Some said they felt lost in the crowd. To make our large office feel like home, I started a monthly series called Ask a Mega. It is an informal, open format where agents can ask anything of the featured mega agents. Then, I created a mastermind group for individual agents so they could connect to set goals and hold each other accountable. Last fall, wildfires threatened homes in 2 nearby communities. I got a list of needed items from volunteer coordinators and delivered donations to firefighters and evacuees. I made calls to our evacuated agents asking, what is the one thing that could make your life easier? One agent just wanted a cutting board and a knife to cook for her family in their temporary shelter. Another needed blankets for her boys. In each of these efforts, I realized it is easy to make a difference when you are willing to take action. Action makes culture real.
The moment I joined my market center, I knew it was a different kind of company. My first for sale sign was given to me for free. The only payment asked in return was that I pass it along when the time was right. Now, I am blessed to be the giver. My favorite way to give back is to do it in secret. I am the queen of secret gifts. It can be as small as a candy bar with a handwritten note, or an anonymous payment of someone's grocery bill when they are struggling. Flowers or balloons at someone's desk always get smiles. Books are the gift of knowledge, and giving congratulations or a virtual high five on social media are limitless gifts to offer others. I don't only believe in giving secretly. Having played sports my whole life, I understand the value of coaching. Pouring into fellow associates as a coach and ALC member is a better gift than I ever thought possible. I'm a big believer in the CGI tools which have helped me grow my business. After all, production is culture, so I teach Ignite to give back to brand new agents, encouraging growth, lead generation, and relationship building. I strive to live the higher purpose of business, to give, care, and share.
Our culture of giving back encouraged me to become an Ignite instructor and coach. My days consist of encouraging, mentoring, recruiting, and helping agents to live out their dreams, all while I am in production myself. I love that we are a company focused on training while also caring for an associate's well-being. Arthurine Johnson, Southeast Region.
I truly believe that we rise by lifting others. Each year, I do an internal audit of my own books. Last year, I was reviewing my transactions and noticed 2 files that each had an error. Each of those clients had paid me an extra $500 that I know I agreed not to charge them. It was an honest oversight on the settlement paperwork. In each instance, my clients signed the documents without mention of the discrepancy. Like me, they probably didn't notice it. Months later, I realized I had been overpaid. I was faced with a dilemma. No one would know if I just decided to keep the $1,000. However, I knew in my heart what I had to do. I scheduled a visit with each of those clients and hand-delivered a check for $500. I apologized for failing to catch the mistake prior to closing and thanked them for their business and trust. There's a lot you can do with $1,000, but trust and integrity are priceless. I'm grateful to be associated with a company that shares the same values that I do. Together, in culture, you're rising to new heights.
We are so grateful to each and every one of our cultural ambassadors for sharing their stories with us. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that inspiration.
Take TV shows and movies and add an extra soundtrack to them and makes them accessible for 13 million blind and visually impaired people in the United States and millions more around the world.
She leaves in the lobby.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome my very dear friend, Jim Stovall, who will be escorted to the podium by his special, precious wife, Crystal. Love you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, every organization reflects its leadership. And you are blessed to have people like Mo Anderson leading you from where you are to your destiny. It doesn't get any better than that. Each and every time I stand up in front of a group of people like this, somewhere in the world, to share for a few minutes about some things in this life I believe to be important. Every time I do this, I am always reminded of that time in my life when this was not possible. It was over 30 years ago. That morning I woke up, I instantly realized I had lost the remainder of my sight, and I began that morning learning how to live my life as a blind person. I was 29 years old. I had never met a blind person in my life, and I did not have a clue what I was going to do with the rest of my days here on this planet. The only plan I could come up with that morning involved moving into this little 9 by 12 foot room in the back of my house. And in my little room there, I gathered my radio and my telephone and my tape recorder, and that was my whole world 3 decades ago. The thought of traveling millions of miles and speaking to millions of people in arena events, the thought of running a television network with over 1,000 stations, the thought of writing over 40 books and having 8 of them made into movies, the thought of writing a weekly syndicated column read by 3 million people each week on 4 continents, or the thought of being here today with you seemed as foreign to me as going to the moon. So I sat in my little 9 by 12 foot self-imposed prison, getting more and more depressed and more discouraged. And I'm quite certain I would still be there this very morning, except for one thing. And that is the fact that I literally ached for people like you to come and talk to. So I want you to know what a thrill it is for me to be a part of your amazing event. Thank you. This morning I began my day, as I begin many of my work days, with a media interview. And the radio reporter was asking me a number of questions, and I mentioned I'm in Austin, Texas today, getting ready to speak to several thousand of my new friends. And he said, "Oh, are you going to tell them how to be successful?" And I will tell you what I told him. No, I am not here to tell you how to be successful. You already know how to be successful. You are the best trained people in the world. There's no one in this room that doesn't know more than enough to reach any level you want to reach personally or professionally and live out your destiny. But ladies and gentlemen, I hate to tell you, we don't fail because we don't know what to do. We fail because we don't do what we know. You are locked and loaded and ready to go and just don't pull the trigger. You know what to do. The problem is you don't do it often enough. So today I am not here to tell you what to do or how to do it. I'm here to tell you why to do it. That's my mission here today. And before we get started, I have to warn you about something. We do a lot of these arena events, and usually they have me wired down. You can only move 6 or 8 feet either way, so you don't get out of the camera range or something. But today I am wireless, so I have to warn you guys. You got a blind guy wandering around up here loose. And on a bad day, I could wipe out 2 or 3 rows down here. So particularly you folks in the front, you want to pay really close attention. This may get more exciting than you had even imagined. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 2 and really only 2 things I want to make very sure you know when you leave this room that you may or may not have known when you came in. And if you know these 2 things as you leave this room, I will have accomplished my mission in being here today. What you do with them is quite simply your mission. And the first of these 2 things I want to make sure you know is you have one God-given right in this world, and that's the right to choose. And you are who you are and where you are in every area of your life because of the choices you've made in the past. Or if I was to put that another way, all the choices you have made in your entire life, all put together, have brought you to this place at this time, sitting in that chair right there. Now, as we travel around the world and tell millions of people you are where you are because that's where you chose to be, a lot of people don't like that. Because we have become a society of people that loves to blame the other guy. We're not sure what happened. We don't know if anything happened, but we know it's not our fault, and we're sure who we're going to blame for it. And if you want to live your life that way, you will never reach your destiny. Only when you and I accept the responsibility for the fact that we are where we are because that's where we chose to be, only then can you live this day and every day of the rest of your life in the certain knowledge that tomorrow will be anything you want it to be based on the choices you make today. So anytime you don't like the way your life's going, don't complain, don't blame somebody else. Just get up off your blessed assurance and change the channel. It's your destiny. You get to pick it. I was traveling on a plane not long ago. It's the way I generally like to fly. I'm sorry. You're a blind guy. You got to slip one like that in every once in a while just to make sure you guys didn't leave, you know? I've given some of my best material to an empty arena, you know? Just 9 guys out there sweeping up. Doesn't really bother me, I just like to know. So this particular day, I got on the plane, I found my seat, stowed my carry-on luggage, sat down, got my seatbelt on, and for a blind guy, you're having a pretty good day. A lot can go wrong with that process, I'll tell you about on another occasion. And then, as some of you know, I was an Olympic weightlifting champion, and the guy that got on and sat down next to me, if they ever add a new event to the Olympic Games, put in a new event called the Marathon Bad Attitude. This guy would have a gold medal too. He had the worst attitude of any single individual I've ever met in my life. It's quite an accomplishment, actually. You just don't wake up one day and have that much expertise. He had put in his 10,000 hours, I assure you. Some of you have met this guy. I stuck out my hand and said, "Hi, I'm Jim Stovall," and he gave me one of those wet fish handshakes and mumbled something I assume was his name. And he immediately told me his seat was not comfortable. He didn't like this airline. He didn't like the city we were in, didn't like the airport we would be connecting through, and he didn't like our final destination. This is all without taking a breath. In fact, I don't think he liked me. We didn't get that far into the conversation. Those of you, if you travel a lot, you know there's only two kinds of flights. There's the conversation flight, and then there's the headset flight. Pretty much determined by your seatmate. I immediately determined this here is going to be a headset flight. In fact, that day I invented a third category, hereafter known as the high volume headset flight. I didn't even want any leakage from this guy. Well, after a few minutes, the nice young lady, the flight attendant, comes down the aisle and said, "Gentlemen, we're going to be serving your dinner here in a few moments. Would you like the chicken or the beef?" I said, "I believe I'd have the chicken this evening." And then she turns to my Olympic seatmate and said, "Sir, would you like the chicken or the beef?" He said, "It doesn't matter." Well, she said, "Sir, we have plenty of both the chicken and the beef dinners on board. Which would you prefer?" He said, "It doesn't matter." She said, "Sir, you are a first-class passenger here on our airline, and it's my job to give you extraordinary service, so could I bring you the chicken or the beef dinner?" He said, "It doesn't matter. Just get out of here and bring me something." A real ray of sunshine, you know? One of those guys that can brighten up the whole room just by leaving. Well, after a few minutes, with great professionalism, she came back and gave me the chicken dinner and gave him the beef dinner. Now, for the next 22 minutes on this flight, according to the official Braille watch, because I knew someday I'd be telling you this story, for the next 22 minutes on this flight, he told me everything you could imagine and some things you could not imagine that were wrong with the beef dinner and why he wished he had the chicken. And then I realized that's the way most people live their lives. There's a few people that make the right decisions. They're the healthy, wealthy, happy, successful people that get whatever their definition of success is out of this life. There's a few people that make the wrong decisions. They live in places like San Quentin and Leavenworth and places like that. And then there's the vast majority of people you will ever meet in your life who never make a decision at all. They spend more time planning their 3-day weekend than they do planning what are they going to do with the rest of their lives. And if you don't get anything else out of our brief time here together this morning, I want you to understand this life we're living right now, this is not a practice game. This is the World Series and the Super Bowl and the Olympics all rolled up into one. And if you don't feel that kind of power and passion about what you do all day, every day, you either need to find something new to do or you need to find a new attitude, and this morning would not be too soon. So the first thing I want to make sure you remember is you have the right to choose. And when you're successful, you know who to pat on the back. Just find the nearest mirror, look right in there. And when things aren't going the way you want them to, the same mirror will work just as well. It's all up to you. The second thing I want to make sure you know when you leave this room that you may or may not have known when you came in is that you're one quality decision away from anything you want, because you change your life when you change your mind. That's the most dynamic concept you will ever encounter. You change your life when you change your mind. Everything you'll ever do and know and have and believe and create and leave behind as a legacy is based on the fact that you change your life when you change your mind. Some of you are going to do that today. Maybe just one of you. If that's you, you're the one I came to talk to. You know, we all had those dreams, those goals, those ambitions when we were teenagers or young adults. Remember that? Man, I'm going to be this, do this, create this. I'm going to change the world. And somewhere between there and here, life set in. And we got so busy making a living that we forgot to create a life and live out our destiny. Well, I came here today to tell you that the biggest dream you ever had is alive and well. I'm talking about the big, scary dream, the one you haven't thought about in 5 or 10 or 15 years. It's buried down there, way down deep inside you. And every time you start to think about it, your subconscious comes up with those, well, I don't know how to do it, when to do it, where to do it, who to do it with, I don't know where to get the money, that could never happen, and it'll go away for a while. But I want you to know that big dream is alive and well. And the only thing you got to do to activate it this morning is go into that little voting booth in the middle of your soul that only you and God know about. And you think of that big dream, the reason you were put on this planet, your destiny. And you go into that little voting booth and you grab the lever that says yes. And you vote for yourself. And what you'll find out is God Almighty voted for you a long time ago. And some of you are going to do that today. 20 years from now, you'll remember this morning. You won't remember me or anything I said, but you'll remember that's the day I said yes to the big dream. And I changed my life when I changed my mind. It all begins with that change of mind. Now, people ask me all the time, Jim, if it's just that simple, if all you got to do is exercise your right to choose and make a quality decision and change your life when you change your mind, why do so many people fail? Well, it's what I call the spider monkey syndrome. Now, this is the deep intellectual part of our program this morning. So if someone around you looks a little slow, you may have to help them through this. And if everyone's looking at you right now, never mind. Spider monkeys are little tiny primates. They live in the tallest trees in the most dense jungle in the Amazon basin. And for years, they tried to capture the spider monkeys. They wanted to ship them back to America and sell them to us as pets. That's our reputation around the world. We are the ultra consumers. If you can capture it and ship it, the Americans will buy it. So for years, they tried to capture these little spider monkeys. Well, first they tried to get them with these giant nets. They would shoot up into the rainforest there, but the monkeys are too fast and they're too small, so they could either slip around or squeeze through the nets. And next they tried to shoot them with these tranquilizer dart guns, but they're too fast and there's too many leaves and branches in between. And they were frustrated in every attempt to capture the spider monkeys until one of the natives came and showed them how to do it. And I'm going to share that with you here this morning. So when you go back home and somebody asks you, what did you learn from that weird blind guy? You tell them, I learned how to capture a spider monkey. Now, it may not seem like a big deal to you right now, but if there's an outbreak of these in your neighborhood, you'll thank me then. You'll be the only one on your block knows how to do this. The way you capture a spider monkey is you take one peanut. You put the peanut inside of a clear glass bottle. You place that bottle at the base of a tree and you leave. You have now created the perfect spider monkey trap. Eventually that little spider monkey, he'll look way down there and he'll see that peanut in that bottle. And eventually he'll climb down the tree, put his little hand in there, grab that peanut, making his fist too large to get out of the bottle. And you have captured you a spider monkey. You can come back an hour, a day, or a week later, and he'll be standing there holding on to that peanut that he can't eat anyway. But he'll just stand there holding on to it. In fact, you can come up next to him and put a whole bag of peanuts right next to him there. But he'll just stand there holding on to that one peanut that he didn't want in the first place, and he can't eat it anyway. You can put bananas all around him there, and he'll just stand there holding on to that peanut. He'll eventually starve to death if you don't help him. You can have other little spider monkeys running around him there playing little spider monkey games. And he'll stand there all by himself holding on to one peanut. You can take away his freedom, you can take away his very life, and he'll stand there holding on to something he didn't really want, and it doesn't do him a bit of good. Because, ladies and gentlemen, after conducting exhaustive research myself, becoming one of the world's leading authorities on the subject of spider monkeys, I've read 2 entire books on the species, which is pretty much the entire body of knowledge as it relates to the spider monkeys. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe I can say to you this morning, without fear of contradiction, folks, spider monkeys are stupid. That's right. But before we laugh too much at the spider monkeys, we got to ask ourselves, what is it in our lives we've been holding on to for years that we didn't want in the first place that is keeping us from everything we ever wanted in this world? Some of us traded our destiny for a peanut. And I got to tell you, I have written over 40 books and 10 million copies in print, and my phone number or email address is in all of them. And I respond to every last person. So you can imagine how many people I hear from all around the world. And as I hear from people who are striving to reach their goals and make a difference and discover and live their own destiny, I have found the biggest impediment most people have to getting from where they are to where they want to be is they're carrying a lot of garbage. If you want success and happiness and joy, you've got to let go of bitterness and unforgiveness and self-doubt. You can't have it both ways. And I'm going to ask you to do something today, a little bit of a leap of faith. I have made arrangements with the building management right here. So some of you, you have that unforgiveness, those people that did you wrong, or life wasn't fair. Hey, you're talking to a blind guy. I know life isn't fair. Bad things happen to good people. But for every person defeated by the circumstance, I'll show you someone else that used that same circumstance as a springboard to everything they ever wanted, and they're living their destiny. But too many people, they're running around carrying that unforgiveness. Gandhi said, we will not be punished for our unforgiveness. We're punished by it. So think of all those things, those people, those things you're bitter about, that unforgiveness, all those things, those self-images of you, that was your past, it's not your future, and quit trying to get to the top of the mountain carrying all that garbage. Just leave it right under your seat right there, and they'll sweep it up later. Just leave it right here. And I'm not trying to trick you into being healthy, wealthy, and happy for the rest of your life. If 2 weeks from now you want to be bitter again, you can do that. It's all about you. For the last 25 years, I have been all around the world on a torturous thing they politely call a book tour. Now, if you haven't made this mistake in your life already, don't ever write a book. See, you think you did all the work when you wrote the book, and then they send you out on this tour and they try to kill you is what they try to do. And I have figured these publishers out. You see, they have more people that want to write books than they have slots for authors. So they send you out on this tour and they hope you never come back. And a lot of writers don't. They're just terminally lost out there in book tour land. So you get on a plane and you fly to a city you've never been to before, you really don't want to go to again, and a little guy picks you up at the airport and he takes you around and you do 5 radio interviews, 3 TV interviews, a magazine, a newspaper, make a speech, sign books, and get on a plane and you go to the next place the next day, and another little guy picks you up and you do the same thing, day after day after day. And after a while, you don't even know where you are. And I have been on so many of these shows. Good Morning Buffalo, Wake Up Cleveland, Go to Bed Omaha. I've been on all these shows. And after a while, you've met with hundreds and hundreds of reporters and interviewers, but there's only 7 questions they ever ask you. I don't know what people do for 4 years in journalism school. I really don't. But they all ask the same questions, and one question I've been asked more than any other is, Jim, out of all the people you met and you worked with, the movie stars, the athletes, the politicians, the millionaires, the billionaires, who has impacted your life the most? And there is one guy who's impacted my life more than anyone else, and I want to introduce him to you as I begin to close this morning. When I was 17 years old, I had a plan for my life. Had nothing to do with what I do now, but when I was 17, I knew everything. Those of you who have teenagers at home right now, you may be experiencing this phenomena. I knew everything. I wasn't always right, but I was never in doubt. And I had a plan for my life. I was going to be an All-American football player and then go into the NFL and make my living as a professional football player. And the coaches and scouts that monitor those sorts of things assured me that I had the size and speed to do that, so it was just a matter of time. And I remember one year I showed up to play another season of football, and I got to tell you, for an Oklahoma guy to come to Austin, Texas, that's brutal. I wouldn't do this for anybody but Mo, I got to tell you. But every year before you go play big-time football, they make you get a physical. They poke you, prod you, weigh you, measure you. They do all this stuff. They want to make sure that you're healthy before they take you out and try to kill you, is the way that works. And I remember this particular year, it was taking a long time. And this doctor ran several tests, and then he shined a light in my eyes, and he called another doctor in, and he shined his light in my eyes. And eventually a third doctor showed up, and he ran several other tests. And eventually the three doctors took me down a long hall, and they sat me down at this conference table, and they said, Jim, we're not sure why, and we're not sure when, but we do know someday you're going to be totally blind, and there's nothing we can do about it. And your whole world just stops right there. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I checked it out. Do you know at that time, and to this very day, there has never been a blind guy play in the NFL. Now, if you saw some of those preseason games last week, you would really question that. Well, I went back home to my hometown, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I enrolled in a local university. And near where I went to college, there is a school for blind kids. And I'm not sure what my motivation was. I don't know if I was trying to make a bargain with God or learn more about it or help out or what I was trying to do. But I went over to this school for blind kids, and I met with the principal. And I said, look, I have no background, no training, no experience in working with blind kids, and I'd like to teach here. Well, you can imagine how excited they were to see me. Oh yeah, here's the guy we've been looking for all along. Let's get him on the faculty immediately. But she was very kind. She said, Jim, if you really want to do this, we do have one kid you can work with one-on-one. I said, I was kind of thinking of having him in my own class, actually. And she said, Jim, you either work with this kid or you get out of here. I have found throughout the years that when you don't have any choice, it's not that hard to make a decision. Would you like A or A? I said, okay, what do I teach this kid? And she said, Jim, that's just it. Christopher is 4 years old. He's totally blind. He has a lot of other physical problems. And Jim, we have determined that he's never going to grow or learn or advance or develop any more than he already has. So all we want you to do is keep Christopher quiet and keep him away from the other kids so they can learn, because Christopher's at the end of the rope. He's not going any further. Ladies and gentlemen, don't you dare ever forget that we always live up to the expectations we have of ourselves, or those expectations that we allow other people to place upon us. And I hate to be the one to come to your wonderful meeting and give you the bad news, but life isn't fair. It's great, it's grand, it's wonderful, and it's the only game in town, but life is not fair. And we don't always get what we want or need or earn or deserve, but I promise you, you will forevermore get what you expect. And if your life and your destiny isn't turning out the way you want it to, if you'll examine your expectations deep down, you'll find out you're just about where you thought you'd be. But you can change your life by changing your mind this morning. And the person that will get out of your chair in just a couple of minutes will be totally different than the person that sat down. Well, the only training they gave me to work with Christopher was two things. They said, Jim, you got to keep his shoes tied. We're afraid he's going to trip on a shoelace and hurt himself. And the other thing is you got to keep him away from the stairs. Very hard for blind people to climb up and down the stairs. We're afraid he's going to be injured. Other than that, we don't care what you do. So that first day I went out to meet Christopher, he was very, very small, much smaller than you would expect a 4-year-old kid to be. And he was indeed totally blind, and he had a lot of other physical problems. And that first day we sat down and had a serious conversation. I said, young man, before I leave here, no matter how many weeks or months or years it takes, you are at least going to learn how to tie your shoes and climb the stairs. And he said, no, I can't. And I said, yes, you can. And he said, no, I can't. And I said, yes, you can. And he said, no, I can't. And if you've ever spent any time with a 4-year-old, you know, they can do that all day long. I had never experienced anything quite like that. Where are you right now? Well, meanwhile, I was attending the university, and those doctors were right, and I was losing my sight. I couldn't get around on my own anymore. I couldn't read anymore. I didn't know then what you know now. I didn't know I could exercise my right to choose and make quality decision and change my life by changing my mind. So I prepared to do the only thing I thought I could do, which was quit. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know your name. I don't know where you're from. I don't know the challenges and obstacles and barriers you face in your world. But there's one thing I know about you better than you know about yourself. And that is quite simply this: when it comes to that big dream, that destiny, that reason you were put on this planet, it is always too soon to quit. You think you've tried everything, you think you've thought of everything, you think you're at the end of your rope, you're not even close. And I hope enough obstacles and barriers will come into your world so you will find out what a giant of a human being you were created to be. But I didn't know that, so I prepared to drop out. I went over to the school for blind kids. I met with the principal again. I said, hey, I'm going blind now myself. This will have to be my last day because I can't make it. I didn't realize they dropped Christopher off early that one day, and he was standing outside the open door to the principal's office, hearing that whole conversation. So when I went out to tell him goodbye and tell him I loved him and tell him I hope someday somebody else would show up and spend some time with him, he turned to me and said, yes, you can. And I said, no, I can't. He said, yes, you can. And I said, no, I can't. And he said, yes, you can. And as I was preparing to explain to this precocious, ignorant, sometimes obnoxious 4-year-old kid, this is different. This is not like tying your shoes. This is like going to a university. As I was preparing to explain my own failure to him, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Stovall, either get up and do something with your life or quit lying to the kid. 3 years later, I graduated with honors from that university, and that same week, I had the privilege of my life, with what little vision I had left. In fact, one of the last things I ever really remember seeing was then 7-year-old Christopher climb 3 flights of stairs, turn and sit on that top step and tie both of his shoes. And that's the person that's impacted my life the most. It's not the movie stars, the athletes, the millionaires, the billionaires. It's a 4-year-old child that came into my life for 3 years to teach me the unadulterated wisdom of the ages, which is quite simply this. It doesn't matter what that dream is. The answer is yes, you can. The dream would not have been put inside of you if you did not have the capacity to achieve it. So when it comes to your destiny, the question is never can you, the question is will you. About 6 weeks after that miraculous day, Christopher climbed the stairs. Christopher died of a brain tumor, which was the condition that had caused him to lose his sight in the first place. And as I was attending his funeral, one of the other teachers said to me, you know, isn't it a shame we'll never know what he could have done had he been given a full life? And I said, wait a minute, hold the phone. The kid has made his contribution. Because anything I do from this day forward, I owe to Christopher. And they told me I have shared that story now with over 4 million people live, just like you and I are talking. And many of them have done what a few of you are going to do today, which is exercise your right to choose, make a quality decision, and change your life when you change your mind, using Christopher's example as a platform to examine your destiny. Because when Christopher died, it was like he had a will. He left me a few things, and I will leave them with you as I close. Christopher left me with the certain knowledge there's no such thing as an insignificant person. If God had ever created an insignificant person, it would have been Christopher. His whole biography would read, lived to be 7, learned how to tie his shoes and climb the stairs. That was everything he had to recommend him, but he has changed the lives of countless people. Christopher left me with the certain knowledge there's no such thing as an insignificant relationship. They're all critical, they're all important. You know, there are people in your world, you know, when it's all said and done, they're hurting, they're at the end of their rope. They won't do what I write about or talk about or make movies about. They'll do what you do. And when you really understand that interconnectivity, the way we're all put together in this world, you'll understand that you don't have the right for one day or even one moment to be anything less than the best you can be, and you'll understand that mediocrity is the most selfish pursuit of any human being. Christopher left me with a certain knowledge there's no such thing as an insignificant day. Every day is a gift. You take it from a guy who thought he would spend the rest of his days, including this one, in a 9 by 12 foot room. It's just a joy to be here. And finally, Christopher left me with a certain knowledge there's no such thing as an insignificant moment, because every moment of every day of the rest of your life holds within it your key to greatness, which is your ability to sit right there in that chair, exercise your right to choose, make a quality decision, say yes to your destiny, and change your life by changing your mind. If not now, when? And if not you, who? Please don't miss this opportunity. I want to thank you. I remember sitting in that little tiny room on a morning much like this, broke and scared and despondent, and sitting there all alone, the most amazing idea I could capture, the most tremendous thought I could imagine, the most wonderful concept I could conceive was not as special to me as getting to spend this morning with you. And as always, I'll leave you with this. Hold on to your dreams and stand tall, even when those around you would force you to crawl. Hold on to your dreams as a race you must run, even when reality whispers you'll never be done. And finally, my friends, hold on to your dreams and wait for the miracles to come, because on that miraculous day, your dream and your reality will merge into one. I love you more than I can say. See you next time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Stay standing. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. You know what we were gonna ask you to do? Who can feel the love and culture in this room? Who's gonna make a choice to bring culture back to their home when they get back? Shine your light, you're all bright shining lights. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. I can see our destiny, I'm gonna let it shine. I can see our destiny, I'm gonna let it shine. I can see our destiny, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let's fulfill our destiny. destiny. I'm gonna let it shine. We are leaving a legacy. I'm gonna let it shine. Keller Williams' family. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Sing it! Let's fulfill our destiny. I'm gonna let it shine. We are leaving a legacy. I'm gonna let it shine. Keller Williams' family. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.